The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian shares dip following Wall Street's broad decline, wiping out some of last week's gains, despite hopes for a Federal Reserve rate cut. Red sweeps through Asia, with South Korea's Kospi falling the most, down nearly 1%. On currencies, the US dollar gains against the South Korean won, but remains flat versus other Asian currencies. The Australian dollar also holds steady against the greenback. In commodities, gold prices rise by 0.1%, while oil prices show mixed moves. In crypto, Bitcoin drops nearly 0.4%, while Ethereum climbs close to 2%. President Bongbong Marcos vows to accelerate the country's digital transformation, adding that technology can bridge inequalities and improve lives. Speaking at this year's Manila Tech Summit, the president cited 2024 figures where the digital economy reached 2.25 trillion pesos. That's 8.5% of the country's gross domestic product, generating more than 11 million jobs. To address possible job displacements due to the rise of artificial intelligence, Marcos says the government is reskilling and upskilling more Filipinos.
Technology allows more opportunities to reach every Filipino. Digital technology in the country has grown by leaps and bounds since the pandemic. And in the face of this crisis, the Filipinos' ingenuity and innovation allowed us to harness digital wallets, online stores, and e-marketing to keep the wheels of our economy alive.
Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste is calling on District Engineer Abelardo Calalo to turn state witness. Leviste has filed multiple charges against Calalo, including bribery and corruption of public officials, alleging that he tried to bribe him to halt the probe into anomalous flood control projects in the district. According to Leviste, Calalo disclosed that beyond DPWH employees, bigger personalities are involved in orchestrating corruption in infrastructure projects.
Hindi lang po dapat yung mga employees ng DPWH ang dapat nating hold to account. And I believe with the help of state witnesses, we can catch a bigger fish.
Leviste adds kickbacks from infrastructure projects can amount to as much as 300 million pesos a year. He also says projects cost higher because contractors factor in the cuts of lawmakers reaching 10 to 20%. Former National Police Chief General Nicolas Torre did not commit any violation which led to his relief. That clarification from Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla in a news briefing earlier. Just this morning, Malacanang ordered Torre's relief, who's been in office barely 3 months. No reason was given, but Remulla hinted that President Marcos offered Torre a government post.
He did not violate any laws. He has not been charged with any violations. He has not been charged criminally nor admissively. It is simply a choice of the President to take a new direction for the PNP.
Police Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartatez Jr. has been designated officer in charge of the police force.
As I assume as the chief or to lead the Philippine National Police, I am reminded of the dreams I harbored for a safer, more secure Philippines. A dream where my grandchildren and indeed all Filipinos families can walk our streets without fear. In the next years, as I direct the course of the Philippine National Police, I'm committed to ensuring that this institution stands greater than ever before, not only in terms of strength and efficiency, but also in the trust and respect of the people.
Senators weigh in on the sudden relief of General Torre. Senator Panfilo Lacson, himself a former PNP chief, believes Torre acted beyond his authority when he relieved his then second-in-command, Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartatez. Lacson explains even during his time as PNP chief, he did not exercise absolute authority over the designations of the members of the command group. Though Torres' relief came as a surprise, other senators believe President Marcos was merely exercising his prerogative to appoint or remove any official.
Kinagulat din marahil tulad ng madami, kabilang ako doon, yung pagkaka-relieve niya. Hindi ko alam kung anong dahilan. Subalit may kapangyarihan ng Pangulo na gawin yun dahil serving at the pleasure of the President and sino mang PNP chief.
Goes to show na kulang forever. It's the reality sa vision. Anytime you can be relieved.
For Senator Amy Marcos, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla was the one behind Torres' relief.
Malagay ko call ni DILG yun. Klaro naman na si John Vic, hindi na happy siguro doon.
Global Ferronickel Holdings Incorporated drops by as much as 19% after Chairman Joseph C. is detained by immigration authorities. This marks the company's biggest decline since June, with early trading volume over 3 times the 3-month average. C was arrested on August 21 upon arrival from Hong Kong, allegedly for misrepresenting his citizenship. We're taking a short break. More business stories are up next. You're watching Business Brief. Authorities are moving on 2 fronts in the Vizcaya case. Customs is checking if the dozens of luxury cars owned by the couple were legally imported, while the BIR is tracing the money to see if it was properly declared and taxed. Sujin Kim joins us on the line for the details. Go ahead, Sujin.
Mai, the controversy over the Vizcaya couple's luxury car collection, seen to value more than $500 million pesos, has triggered parallel investigations from both the Bureau of Customs and the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Customs is now scrutinizing whether the 40 luxury vehicles were legally imported, properly declared, and fully assessed for duties and taxes.
We're in the process of verifying which so identifying the vehicles that are named under them. And the first step is, of course, to go to the Land Transportation Office because what we've seen in the videos are mere models of these cars.
If the declared value of a vehicle is understated by more than 30% compared to its true market price, it is automatically presumed to be fraudulent.
If you're buying a 15 million peso luxury vehicle, most likely you'll get the same amount that you're going to pay now. In terms of both duties, taxes that are due to that particular vehicle.
Investigations, Assistant Commissioner Attorney Mai Rodriguez says, can reach 15 to 30 days.
So it takes a little bit more time for that. But if they're not able to produce any of the financial documents that we will be asking of them, then we can also make a conclusion based on the records that the Bureau of Customs have.
Should fraud be proven, penalties can reach up to 6 times the tax deficiency, on top of possible criminal prosecution. But while Customs focuses on how the cars entered the country, the BIR is zeroing in on the money trail. The central questions: was the money used to buy the cars declared in the couple's income tax returns? What was the true source of these funds? And if the money came from government contracts, were those contracts fully reported and subjected to the proper 12% value-added tax and income tax?
It's not unusual for rich people to buy luxury cars, but it is unusual to buy a lot of luxury cars simply because of it's impractical to be paying so much taxes for all this. As we're talking about contractors who are enjoying or flaunting their lavish lifestyle. So if they're paying taxes, then there's no problem. But it has to come from BIR.
Tax experts warn that contractors often undeclare their income by excluding amounts allegedly lost to under-the-table payments, inflate their expenses with fake receipts, or misclassify personal luxury items as business costs. These schemes slash taxable income and mask untaxed wealth.
And the BIR can audit and investigate whether these are normal business expenses or necessary for their operations. I don't think they need 20 luxury cars to operate as a contractor or so on and so forth.
Coordinated audits will be key in testing whether the Discayas and the companies linked to them complied with the law. Chief advisor for the Asian consulting group Mon Abrea says that for the BIR, the case is also a test of credibility, with more than 97% of tax collections in the Philippines coming from voluntary compliance. Failure to act decisively on high-profile cases could undermine public trust, weaken enforcement, and ultimately erode revenues. And those are latest updates from Taguig City. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Sujin Kim. Maharlika Investment Corporation has named Stephen Kuunying to its board. He will chair the investment committee overseeing strategy and approval of investments. Kuunying brings decades of experience in capital markets and has advised major deals, including Hyundai Nissan and SM Investments IPOs. He is expected to strengthen Maharlika's 9-member board alongside Joel Consing, former investment banker and CEO of the Maharlika Investment Fund. The board of directors of SM Investments has approved a 60 billion peso share buyback program. In its disclosure, the company said management is authorized to set the terms and conditions of the buyback in line with the corporation's best interests. The transactions were executed on August 22, with settlement scheduled for August 27. One of the country's biggest liquor brands is showing resilient demand as Tanduay Distillers' net income surged to 1.36 billion pesos in the first half of the year. That's nearly double the 712 million pesos it reported in the same period last year. The liquor and spirits arm of LT Group says the jump was driven by higher revenues, better margins, and market share gains. The results show how consumer spending on lifestyle and leisure remains resilient even amid slower economic growth. We're taking another breather, a look at how Philippine shares did today when we return. Stay tuned. U.S. President Donald Trump denies accusations he has become a dictator. This after he deployed National Guard troops to Washington to address the supposed high incidence of criminality. Critics say Trump's move was an unnecessary overreach. They also suspect Trump only wants to seize greater control of Washington and target Democratic cities. Trump plans to do the same to Chicago, but Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is against this.
So I'm thinking about, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
President Trump threatens to impose 200% tariffs on Chinese goods if Beijing won't sell its magnets to the U.S. Trump acknowledged the move could have serious consequences for Washington's trade relations with Beijing. China has long been protective of its rare earth supply, adding magnets and other items to its export restriction list in retaliation for U.S. tariff hikes. Earlier this month, the two sides agreed to extend for another 90 days a pause on further tariff increases.
But we have a very strong relationship, Howard, I would say, economically with China now, getting much better. They have to give us magnets. If they don't give us magnets, then we have to charge them 200% tariff or something, you know. But we're not going to have a problem, I don't think, with that. I think that's perhaps behind us. You know, China intelligently went and they sort of took a monopoly of the world's magnets. And nobody needed magnets until they convinced everybody 20 years ago, let's all do magnets.
The rare earths clash matters well beyond the U.S. and China, since these materials power electronics, vehicles, and clean energy supply chains across Asia, including the Philippines. President Trump fires Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook over alleged improprieties in obtaining mortgage loans. Trump also accused Cook of having what he calls deceitful and criminal conduct in a financial matter, adding that he did not have confidence in her integrity. Cook was appointed to the Fed board in 2022 by then President Joe Biden. She has yet to release a statement on the matter. Philippine shares suffered a bloodbath, returning to the 6,100 level. The PSE index ended down over 2%, closing at 6145, making it the worst performer in Asia. Among sectoral indices, only mining and oil finished in the green, while services fell the most, down over 5%. Decliners outpaced advancers 112 to 81, with total value turnover reaching 14.3 billion pesos. Nearly all of the day's most active stocks ended lower, with BDO dropping nearly 8%. In the foreign exchange market, the peso is trading at 56.77 to the dollar, up from its previous close of 56.95. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. See you then.